be back. And I made it back. I did. I made it back. Thanks for tuning in to Let's Talk About It Media 21, where we talk hot topics, trending topics, what's going on. We debunk stuff. We talk about stuff. We give pats on the back when they're well deserved. And we just talk about what's going on. And just to keep you guys updated. Can we cover everything? No, but we cover a lot. And that's the main point. So I'm going to get to this subject. I'm seeing my picture, but you know what? It's going to be okay. I'll fix it later. We're going to talk about the chef. And the reason why I have to talk about the chef is because the chef is bringing the TTT. And what she feels, how she felt, how she was approached, things that were happening. The chef gave a lot of information. And if people are concerned about their safety, that's what we have to talk about. You know what I mean? There's another subject I need to try and get to, because that's another situation. If it's concerning someone's safety, we have to talk about it. So here we are talking about the chef, Diddy's ex-chef, okay? And we're going to give a breakdown of what's happening, what's transpiring. What we may do, because it's going to take people a few minutes to come in, I'm going to go ahead and do my disclaimer. I almost forgot. Do my disclaimer, give people a minute to come in, and then we'll probably get into a little Diddy stuff, and then we may get into the chef stuff. So that's probably how we'll do it. Okay. Copyright disclaimer. Under Section 107 of the Copyright Act of 1976, allowance is made for fair use for purposes such as criticism, comments, news reporting, teaching, scholarships and research. Fair use is use permitted by copyright statute that might otherwise be infringing. All comments are alleged, in our opinion, and for entertainment purposes only. So we're going to get to some Diddy news. Of course, many people are talking about what may transpire tomorrow, so we may go into that. We did do a general update. That was a reaction video. Let me see. Hold on one second. Let me see. Just give me a second, because I'll do that later. Let me go ahead and do this. So many people are wondering what's going to happen tomorrow. So we will have, and then if you did not know, there was an alternate juror spoke out. We generally talked about that earlier, but many people feel a way about that. And many people are wondering, are the other jurors are going to speak, or were they requested to not speak until after this thing tomorrow? So there's no distractions.
It's a district court.
Hold on.
Who've been following the U.S. versus Sean Combs? Okay, here we are, Matthew Russell Lee, Inner City Press, here at the Southern District of New York Courthouse. Today, Monday, July 7th, 2025. Now, for those who've been following the U.S. versus Sean Combs trial, it ended, as we all know, last Wednesday with 2 guilty and 3 not guilty verdicts. Bail was denied, and there's a hearing tomorrow, Tuesday, on expedited sentencing. I'm assuming that his lawyers will be asking for time served whenever that does happen. We'll just have to see. There's also the question of relevant conduct, which is the things not convicted of but presented at trial. Now, speaking of that, if not, the sentencing will be October 3rd. But it could get moved up. I think it probably will be moved up. That's basically the judge said, I'm not going to let you out on bail, but I will speed up your sentencing if you want, if the probation department can produce a pretrial services report in time, which they probably can. It's a high-profile defendant. Now, speaking of relevant conduct, one of the escorts mentioned at the trial is Clayton Howard. He was mentioned repeatedly. You can look over Inner City Press's threads or the 8 books that we put out, booklets, during the trial, one for each week, and you'll find Dave, as he was referred to many times. Well, Dave has filed a lawsuit that's quite contrary to how he was described. Now we understand why he wasn't one of the escorts tried. Who knows? There's many civil lawsuits out there. We're following them, and we'll see. We'll present them. People will have their different views of what's up with them. But there's that one is in California, but it's in federal courts. We can cover it pretty easily. Speaking of which, we just covered a Massachusetts.
Okay, so they're talking about what's supposed to happen tomorrow. They're talking about Dave. If you guys did not know, Cassie's lawyer He spoke out. We generally cover that. I'll give you guys some updates regarding that. And then we're definitely going to get to the chef. So hold on one second. Like the video as you guys come in. Like the video as you guys come in. I appreciate you all for being here. Of course, be respectful in the comments. So we're just going to get through some hot topics, trending topics real quick in regards to what Cassie's lawyer had to speak about. Then we're definitely going to get to the chef because I promised y'all some information about the chef.
Now speaking up about the verdict.
When this verdict was read, this has been something that you have been representing Cassie Ventura for well over a year. A lot at stake here. Yes, for Sean Combs, but for Cassie Ventura. What were you feeling when you were inside that courtroom?
Well, I think there was a lot of mixed emotions in the courtroom, generally speaking. Obviously, we would have liked to have seen convictions on the RICO charges and the sex trafficking charges, but Cassie prompted this investigation by the Southern District, and now Sean Combs stands before the court as a convicted felon of 2 federal crimes. He faces significant incarceration. Not the exact outcome that we wanted, but we are grateful to the jury for finding a guilty verdict on those 2 federal crimes.
I want to get back to what you were just talking about, but first I have to ask you, have you had the chance to speak with Cassie?
I have, yeah. So I had an opportunity to speak with her, as did the government prosecution team. She's of the same view. Back in November of 2023, Cassie had a choice. She could accept an 8-figure settlement offer and move on with her life and sign non-disclosure agreements, or she could file a civil lawsuit and hold Sean Combs responsible for what he did to her and shine a light on his behavior. She showed great courage, great bravery to choose the latter of those 2 options. She turned away the money at first. Ultimately, the case settled the day after. And she went through a year-long process of preparing for this trial. I thought, and I think people who saw her testified, she was a great witness. She was great.
So now let's talk about what the chef had to say about she was supposed to testify.
One of the actual...
And we'll get back to him.
Minor victims to Sean Combs' physical assault while I was employed by him. As someone who was a witness to the abuse towards Cassandra Ventura Fine during my time of working for Sean Combs, I would just like to say that this is a grave miscarriage of justice. And I would like to also address that last year, on March 20th, I was contacted by the federal government. They showed up at my door with badges. I refused to speak to them because I was, as one of the...
Next clip. Mind you, this is Diddy's ex-chef. She spoke up, spoke out. She was supposed to take the stand. They showed up to her house. When they kept contacting her, she became even more frustrated with every call, with every situation. So let's continue to listen. Fair use reaction clip.
Terrified. So I was served with a grand jury subpoena that day before they left my home in Atlanta, Georgia. I confided in 3 different people about that visit from the feds. Terrified is actually an understatement. By April 11th of 2024, I was being contacted by Sean Combs' initial lawyer, Aaron Dyer. I have a voicemail that he left and text messages stating that Mr. Combs was aware of the visit from the government and that they would like to extend to cover my legal fees. Was terrified.
Next clip. Like the video as you guys come in. Please subscribe and thank you.
These are facts. This, in my opinion, was witness tampering. I was supposed to testify this year on May 20th. I was in New York. It was announced. It was on CNN that I was supposed to be testifying, and I was pulled because I flipped out on the government. These are also facts. I want to be very clear. As a victim, as a former employee of Sean Combs, I do not feel safe. I am extremely traumatized. I do not know where to go from here. These are facts. This, in my opinion, was witness tampering.
Next clip.
Submit my own letter to the judge. I stand by everything that I said. I knew that he beat Cassie Ventura fine in 2009. I know that she was dragged from the vehicle, okay? I know that I saw her 2 days later at the London hotel when me and one of his assistants brought her a bag, okay? This was a miscarriage of justice. And beyond any of this, I don't really have anything more to say, and I really don't know where to go from here. Just know that I am terrified and I am traumatized. And it's honestly, submit my own letter to the judge.
Yes.
By everything.
Remember, she submitted a letter to the judge. Don't let him out and release him. And Cassie submitted a letter to the judge. Don't let him out and release him. There was somebody else, I think. I think there might have been 3 letters. Don't quote me. Take it with a grain of salt. But they contacted her and they offered to pay her legal fees. So let's listen into that again.
Submit my own letter to the judge. I stand by everything that I said. I knew that he beat Cassie Ventura fine in 2009. I know that she was dragged from the vehicle.
No.
Okay? I submit letter.
No, they didn't release him. You know that. They have not released him.
I knew that he beat Cassie Ventura fine in 2009. I know that she was dragged from the vehicle, okay? I know that I saw her 2 days later at the London hotel when me and one of his assistants brought her a bag, okay? This was a miscarriage of justice. And beyond any of this, I don't really have anything more to say, and I really don't know where to go from here. Just know that I am terrified and I am traumatized. And it's honest.
So that's the biggest thing. You guys, you have to realize women that have had concerns with ex-boyfriends, maybe some people haven't experienced that. Sometimes all of us know one person that's had concerns with a family member, or they had concerns and they were able to get out. People have a right to tell you their fears, their concerns. They have a right. The jury made a decision. Right, wrong, or indifferent. We cover the news. That's what we do. We talk about it. That's what the page is. Let's talk about it. This chef has a right to tell us how she's feeling. Let me see if I can find her other video, because she spoke out again, and she's in like a red shirt. She spoke out again because people are saying, well, why didn't you take the stand? She was called to take the stand, but then they never called her again to take the stand because of how she was bold. She was bold. And then remember how they said that, other people were supposed to take the stand? Oh, remember how they said KK? She wouldn't have given them what they wanted or needed. Well, even if you felt she would have given them what you wanted or needed, she still should have took the stand. We're talking about everything. We side-eyed that they didn't cover what they took from the house. We side-eyed what they didn't uncover and, charge in regards to what was in the hotel. No woman should have to be touched. No man should have to be getting unwanted touches from anybody. It's a huge concern, and the chef has every right to tell how she feels. Cassie had already got her money. She didn't have to take that stand, but she did. So their relationship was toxic. Cassie Diddy relationship was so toxic. What the alleged assistants went through was concerning and toxic. There's no way. A lot of us have jobs, 8 to 5, 9 to 5. There's no way if a boss asks me to take a substance, I'm going to do it. I'm not going to do it, dude. I'm not going to take a substance to prove my loyalty. I'm not cleaning up your acts. I'm not cleaning up your juices. What some of these employees decided to take this job and do was so concerning. We're going to get to Judge Mathis's thoughts.
Sean Diddy Combs has been convicted of interstate transportation of prostitutes. The only crimes I believed he committed. As I've said in the beginning, after the closing arguments, I thought that would be the only thing they would convict him of, and that is the case. And I'm going to respect the juror's decision. On the other hand, he's been denied bail. I'm not sure if that's fair for 2 counts of interstate transportation of prostitutes, tricking. And in that sense, precedent.
And over here, we talk about what people are saying, whether they're on his side, not on his side. We show that the family goes to the court to support him. Over here, we talk about a lot of what I can cover. So let's continue. Fair use reaction clip. Please continue. Hit the like button, you guys. Let's get the likes to 100, please. Please double tap that screen. Let's get the likes to 100. There's 182. The likes should match the views. The views should match the likes. Let's get it up. If you're watching from a phone, press 1. Please double tap the screen. And thank you. If you're watching from a phone, please press 1. If you're watching from a phone, press 1. All it takes is double tapping of the screen. Let's continue. And please subscribe. And thank you.
If that's fair for 2 counts of interstate transportation of prostitutes, tricking. And in that sense, precedent shows that it's 21 to 27 months, indeed the guidelines for each count of interstate transportation of prostitutes for first-time offenders. As such, the sentencing...
So are y'all hearing what he's saying, what the sentencing will be? Let me repeat it. Let me go back. Thank you for being here. Yeah, I see a different side. Now it's like 154 and 9 likes. Yeah, and see, my show goes fast because I have stuff to do. I can't pause my show and do an intermission and say, okay, until y'all get the likes up, you got to do this. Until I get $20, I'll continue the show. My show's different. I don't have time for that. I got stuff to do. So please hit the like. Thank you. Please subscribe. Let's continue.
Shows that it's 21 to 27 months, indeed the guidelines for each count of interstate transportation of prostitutes for first-time offenders. As such, the sentencing should be in conjunction with precedent and in conjunction with first-time offenders. I'll also talk more about this on the Mathis Verdict podcast, or the clips that we'll be showing of the podcast over the weekend, but certainly next week we'll be discussing in thorough the case and what I suggest the sentencing should be. So keep an eye out for us next week for a full analysis of this.
So that was Judge Mathis. He kind of felt that that's what the verdict would be from the jurors. So it's kind of cool that certain attorneys felt certain situations were fair, certain situations were unfair. We cover it all. So we're going to get to another clip. I'm trying to find the chef's other video. I may have to do it tomorrow because I know she's in like a red shirt with like a brand name on it. So hold on one second. Fair use reaction clip. I'm just bringing y'all some information. I had to get this video out. Thanks for being here, you guys. Thanks for subscribing.
Sex trafficking by force, fraud, or coercion,
as well
as transportation to engage in prostitution, was found guilty on 2 counts and not guilty on 3 counts. Combs' fellow inmates gave him a standing ovation. Her attorney, Mark Agnafilo, for avoiding protection.
Now, did y'all know that allegedly the inmates gave him a standing ovation? Now, is that his attorneys saying that, or did that really happen? I would love for a security guard to really tell us if that really happened. Now, Diddy's not happy he didn't get bail. So his attorneys may be trying to, make themselves look good because they didn't get him bail. But that was up to the judge. Let's continue. Fair use reaction clip.
Life in prison charges. As the attorney told the Associated Press in an interview published July 6, they all said, "We never get to see anyone who beats the government." And as for how Combs reacted to hearing his verdict, according to NBC News, the 55-year-old got on his knees with his head down in a chair, seemingly praying after avoiding a life in prison sentence in his case. And after the public...
Oh, you said it probably didn't happen. Many people were wondering. Did that really happen? Are the attorneys trying to make themselves look good, but y'all couldn't get them bail, though?
Responded with mixed opinions to the verdict. One of the jury members emphasized that the rapper's celebrity status had no influence over their decision, telling ABC News on July 2nd, "We spent over 2 days deliberating. Our decision was based solely on the evidence presented and how the law is stated. We would have treated any defendant in the same manner regardless of who they were. I have nothing else to say."
So do y'all feel that the jury did a good job? Do you feel that their decision would have been the same decision that they made a decision Wednesday? Do you think their decision would have been the same Tuesday? Because remember, they had a hard time with charge one, and they felt confident in charge 2, 3, 4, and 5. Do you think allowing them to go home, debate what was going on, do you think their minds changed by going home that day? Okay, we're going to get to a little bit more of Cassie's lawyer speaking out. If you're just not coming in, we briefly talked about this. Hold on. Fair use reaction clip. Thanks for being here, everyone. I hope you're subscribing. Let me see. We're almost at 40K, you guys. We're almost at 40K. Continue to subscribe. I literally bring y'all to TTT because I know y'all want proper information. Y'all don't want lies. Y'all don't want clickbait. Y'all don't want stuff fluffed up. You want proper information from the news, and I bring it to y'all. So whenever I'm chilling, sometimes I have to listen to stuff so I know what to tell y'all. So please subscribe. There's about 188 in the building. We're almost at 40K. So let's get to Cassie's lawyer.
Many other people have come forward are going to be seeking to hold Sean Combs responsible in the civil courts. And so it's not all lost. He's now, as I said, he's never been held responsible for anything in his lifetime. He was acquitted on charges when he was in New York with a gun case, and now he is a 2-time convicted felon, 2 federal charges. The government indicated after the jury verdict was read that they're going to be seeking consecutive terms, and they're going to be seeking lengthy prison incarceration. And so Cassie was comforted in knowing that not only has she played a role in the criminal prosecution, but that she has shined a light on this behavior by Sean Combs, and many other people have come forward, not only about him, but about other people in the entertainment world as well.
Now, I want to go back to something you said, which is when she filed that civil suit in November 2023, that this is really what started it all. And it really is in the civil sense, but also in the criminal sense. In this trial, and I was in the courtroom for most of the days, we heard both the defense and the prosecution say that this investigation, this federal investigation, began because of Cassie Ventura. How does that weigh on her to realize that Sean Combs would not have even been in a courtroom if not for her?
Well, I think it's given her some agency in life, where for 10 years he told her what had to be done and she had no choice. This was her ability to say, no, I'm not going to accept this 8-figure settlement. I'm going to file this lawsuit. And that's what she did. And so she is really gratified in knowing that other people have come out since the filing of the civil lawsuit, and that you're correct. As far as I know, there was no pending investigation into Sean Combs prior to her filing the civil lawsuit. We were contacted very soon after we filed, and this investigation ensued. And the prosecution team, I thought did an excellent job. Again, not the outcome I'm sure that they wanted. They didn't get the top counts, but they at least were able to secure two convictions of two federal felony charges.
Now, you mentioned the settlement, which, as you were saying right here, Cassie had two choices, which was take the money, sign an NDA, or file a civil suit. She chose to file the civil suit. Now, she did reach a settlement within 24 hours. It was very quick, but this was after she filed the civil suit, after all of her bombshell allegations were out in the world. And yet, in this trial, the defense seized on money, not just for Cassie, but also for Jane. The defense, and this is not a direct quote, I'm summarizing, but Mark Agnifilo, in his closing, he said, Cassie Ventura is the winner here. He called her the winner. He said she's sitting somewhere in the world with $30 million. She's not naive like the prosecutors are telling you. She knew exactly what she was doing, and she's the winner. How did that make you feel and her feel to use the word winner when the jury and the world, by the way, has seen her being horrifically beaten on camera?
Yeah, I mean, thanks to your great reporting and the video that saw the light of day, obviously, Cassie Ventura at that point in time and today is not the winner. She endured 10 years of abuse where she had to engage in days-long sexual acts with UTIs. She alleged that she was raped. So to call her a winner, even though she did get $30 million, part from, as she testified, part from Sean Combs, part from the hotel, no amount of money is going to ever undo what she had to endure. And what she had to go through. So I think
there's about 255 in the building. Please subscribe and please hit the like. We're almost at 40K. 255 in the building. Please subscribe and please hit the like.
both she and I didn't really take well to that as her being a winner. And frankly, the fact of the matter is that when she testified, she had already been paid the $30 million. So she had no vested interest in anything other than telling the truth on that witness stand. And while the jury did not convict on the sex trafficking charge, I mean, I think it's important for your viewers to know, in the criminal justice system, the standard is very high. It's beyond a reasonable doubt. The civil justice system is very different. It's a preponderance of the evidence, more likely than not. So it is a very high burden. The jury found that the government did not meet that burden, but that doesn't mean that what she said isn't true.
Mm-hmm. Now, his defense during their closing also called Cassie and Combs' relationship, and again, this is not a direct quote, but a great modern love story. How did she feel when she...
Were y'all surprised that it was called a great modern day love story? That's not a great modern day love story. Sorry, sir. So are they attorneys saying their love life is like Diddy and Cassie's were? Let's continue. Fair use reaction clip.
Heard that, and I'm curious, has she been following all of the testimony? Because she was one of the first witnesses. She was on the stand for 4 days talking about what she says happened to her. Cassie, as we all know, is now a new mother of 3. She was on that witness stand when she was very pregnant, 8.5 months pregnant. Has she just been focused on family, or has she been following this, and how difficult has it been if she has been following?
Yeah, so I mean, she is primarily and has been focused on her family.
You've dreamed up some delicious Domino's pizzas, like the viral pizza.
Fair use reaction
and we
clip.
Want to see more. So we're bringing back Domino's best deal ever. Get any hand tossed.
Please like the video. Please like the video.
With any toppings for just...
Focused on her family. She did testify when she was 8 months pregnant. And she is really trying to look forward. And when I gave my statement after her testimony, I made very clear that she was looking forward. She did not want to think about the case any longer. She had given her testimony and now wanted to just concentrate on her family. And she's done that. I mean, obviously, it's almost impossible not to see some of the media about the case. And so she has seen some of that. I can tell you that some of the comments that were made in the closing argument, I thought were repugnant, frankly, calling those sorts of behaviors as a modern day relationship, saying that she enjoyed sex, saying she was a gangster, things like that. I don't think, even with the jury verdict, that they would have given that any credit. And I don't think anyone who actually listened to the testimony and watched the testimony would either. And I thought that those were sort of gratuitous comments that really weren't based on any real fact.
After Cassie filed her civil lawsuit in November 2023, since there's been roughly 70, that's 70 suits that have been filed against Sean Combs. He denies all of these allegations, but the allegations coming from women, men, minors over the course of decades, egregious accusations,
allegedl allegations,
auditions, being drugged at his infamous white parties, not remembering a single thing after they were handed a drink, and then being sexually assaulted. Given that none of these suits had come out prior to Cassie filing that lawsuit, does she feel like she has made a difference, and like she is shining a light on not just the abuse that she alleged of Sean Combs, but for survivors around the world.
Yeah, definitely. And that was one of her major objectives, frankly, when she rejected an 8-figure settlement, was not only to shine a light, but to give a voice to others who are suffering in silence. And she knew that there were others out there. And so to now see, as reported, numbers in the 50, 60, 70 or more allegations or lawsuits, I think that she's been vindicated in what she did. So many people would never have chosen that path. If you've got two paths, one is to take an 8-figure settlement and move on with your life versus taking the other path of rejecting it, and you might not see a penny, but you actually get to go public and shine a light on what happened, and maybe others come forward. She should really be applauded for what she did.
Mm-hmm. And as I said,
thanks for being here, everyone. There's about 149 in the building. Can you guys please hit the like? Thank you. Can you please double tap the screen? If you're watching from a phone, please hit the like button and thank you. Sometimes people are popping in and out and they forget to hit the like. Best way to support the channel is free to hit the like. The views should match the likes. Thank you.
The National Domestic Violence Hotline, I had asked them for some reporting if they had seen an influx of calls after Cassie came forward, and they had. The numbers really spiked. She spoke directly to survivors of domestic violence. When she posted on her Instagram, she thanked everyone, and she said that domestic violence is the problem. Has she been hearing from different survivors ever since she came forward?
A lot of the different organizations that support survivors have reached out to her and to us. Because she is really,
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm not ignoring you. I'm just doing stuff behind the scenes. Good afternoon, everyone. Let's continue. Fair use ration clip.
Not the official spokesperson, but she what she did, it was so brave and courageous. And so people see that, and they have shown fortitude in coming forward as well. I can tell you anecdotally as well, just that my law firm, which handles many of these cases, has seen a great increase in the number of cases since she came forward, because other people, women primarily, feel empowered that if Cassie can do this, I can do it as well. And so, my hat really goes out to her. I'm really proud to be her lawyer. There aren't many clients like her.
Mm-hmm. Now, when our team at CNN released that hotel surveillance footage, I had reached out to you for comment, which is a common practice in journalism, and you gave us a statement that we used in our report. But I've never been able to ask you a question, which I am curious. Had Cassie ever seen that video before our team aired it?
She hadn't, but we had described it in the complaint, and so when the video came out, it corroborated everything that she said. She had heard that a video was out there. She wasn't sure exactly what had happened with it, but she had never actually seen it. But it really, when we saw it and we look back at the complaint, it really...
But she experienced it, and she probably knew that the video allegedly was bought. I couldn't even imagine. Remember, that was the week she had her premiere. So she should have been celebrating her movie premiere, but instead she was having this drama and conflict in regards to that hotel situation. Fair use reaction clip.
Again, it was just amazing to see how it corroborated everything that she had said in that civil complaint.
So everything in her civil complaint was from her memory. It was her experience, and she had told you that.
That's right.
But she had not seen it. What was it like for her to see it? And I recognize that as I'm asking you this, it was our network that aired it, but to see it in such a public way, and suddenly we have this very private moment out there, what was that like for her?
I think it was very disturbing for her. Again, she's never, and she never will get over the treatment that she suffered. If we didn't have that video, I'm sure Sean Combs would have denied that there was any physical incident at the hotel on that day. If she didn't have the pictures and photographs of other incidents, he would have denied those as well. And so obviously the video shows what he did. Her views and the general public views, I think uniformly were disgusted by what was on that.
What do you think happens next with all of these civil suits? Of course, you do not represent all of them, but now that Sean Combs has been convicted, he's a criminal now. He was found by a jury to have committed 2 federal crimes, but as you said, not the outcome that you were necessarily hoping for. Do you believe that these civil accusers will be scared because he won't be serving life in prison, or do you believe that they will still be emboldened to pursue their claims against him?
Well, I think from a plaintiff's lawyer's perspective, they're probably happy, frankly, that he's not going to be in jail because, he'll have his assets. and they'll be able to take his deposition. They'll be able to participate in discovery. If he were in jail, sort of like Harvey Weinstein, those cases have been difficult to get any compensation for, given his situation. If he had been convicted on RICO, there may have been asset forfeiture along with that as well. So, just from a practical standpoint, not a bad thing for those civil cases. And even if he had been convicted of RICO and/or sex trafficking, that wouldn't have necessarily have helped those other plaintiffs, because most likely that sort of evidence would have been excluded from those civil trials anyway. So, net, I don't think there's really. It might even be a positive, frankly, for those other civil lawsuits. I can't really comment on, the strength of those lawsuits. We only have one of them actually pending, but I hope that the ones that are valid all succeed.
And will you be pursuing that one client's claim?
For sure, yes.
So interesting to hear that perspective. And of course, you represented victims of Harvey Weinstein
Yes.
as well. Now, you're also a former prosecutor. So what do you think we're looking at here for sentencing when it comes to these two convictions? Each carry a maximum term of 10 years. The prosecutors have said that they will be pursuing these 20 years to be served consecutively. What do you think is realistic?
Why are women everywhere choosing Abby X?
Fair use reaction clip. What do you think it will be? What do you think the judge will do? Fair use reaction clip. Like the video. Let's continue to get the likes up. Thank you.
Qualified to answer that question, but I know the government feels strongly about seeking whatever maximum term that they can do under not only the federal laws but also the sentencing guidelines, and in addition that they feel that some of the other non-acquitted facts that sort of go to bolster their position that he should be sentenced to maximum or consecutive terms, that they will pursue all of those avenues to the extent that they can do so in a legal and plausible way. And so it would be hard for me to ultimately guess, but I would say this: he definitely faces a substantial prison term, and I do believe he's going to be serving years, plural. It would be very difficult for me to gauge how many years, though.
Cassie took the stand for 4 days, and she testified about what, quite frankly, are some of the most embarrassing and traumatic moments of her life, things that she may have wanted to go to the grave with had it not been for testifying in this trial. How difficult was that for her, or was it cathartic in some sense?
I think it was both. It was both. It was very difficult, and it was cathartic. If you were in the courtroom and you observed her, she just answered the questions, I thought, in a very graceful, and I think I'm trying to speak as objectively as possible, I thought, in a forthright manner. I don't believe that the jury disbelieved her in reaching its conclusion. I think the jury ultimately found that the government hadn't met its burden beyond a reasonable doubt under a very complex and difficult statute. And, when you think of sex trafficking, sometimes, people conjure images of, minors and bringing people in from other countries and things like that, and not this sort of behavior, which technically, could be argued as sex trafficking. But I think that she, when she filed the civil complaint, she, knew that a lot of this would become public. She didn't know at the time.
Hi, Douglas.
Okay. Okay, so many people felt a way about her testifying. Do you think she should have took the money and ran? Do you think she should have hit the stand? Do you think that the jury did an amazing job covering the story? Do you think the jury got it right? What do you think the judge is going to do? And what do you think his sentencing will be? I thank you all for being here. I had to cover what the chef has said. There's another clip out there in regards, she's in a white shirt and she's talking about Diddy. And she's kind of like, how would you guys feel if you were in my shoes being a chef and you're seeing somebody getting unwanted touches, comments about them, to them? What would you do in regards to if you saw what I saw? She basically said, there's a lot of people feel away. The jury made a decision. Should the trial had gone a different way? Should they have focused on different things outside of Cassie, showing text messages, their interactions? Should they have been more so focused on what was in the house? Should they have been more so focused on what was at the hotel when he got arrested? There's a lot that's going on, but I covered it. I'm glad I covered it. I thank you all for subscribing. I do see that the numbers went up. Thank you for subscribing. I will at some point have to get to the Tyler Perry situation in regards to the allegations. I can't confirm or deny. And like I said, Diddy was innocent till proven guilty in a court of law. It was up to the jury to make a decision. So now it's in the judge's hands of what the sentence will be like. The verdict was in, and people have made a decision. There's also a lot of drama that happened at the courthouse, inside, outside. Many news people felt away about the lines. Many content creators felt away about the lines. Some people are talking about their experiences. Some people are unfortunately making some of this stuff about them, and they shouldn't. And, it's concerning. Let's stay focused on the topics. Let's stay focused on the case. If you did not know, I cover other stuff. That's in my shorts. When I cover different things, they're talking about the list. Now they're saying there is no list, not pertaining to Diddy. Now you guys know what I'm talking about the list. The reporters in the news talked about a list. Now allegedly the list there is no list. What happened? Did it get destroyed? Why would you tell people about a list? Now there's no list. Was it destroyed? What's really going on about that? So there's a lot of stuff that's going on. We do whatever we can to cover what we can. But going over to my shorts, we talk about different stuff over there, different topics on my shorts. My shorts do extremely well. So sometimes if I can take out 30 minutes to give you guys shorts, I do that. So it's not just about the Diddy, and it's not just about Cassie. I do whatever I can regarding shorts, but I have a life outside of here. So I do what I can to bring y'all information. So I thank you guys. As y'all hear, my phone is ringing off the hook. I got to call people back because they're probably like, what's going on? So I thank you all. I appreciate you all. Focus on healthy, safe relationships. Be around people that's loving, kind, and respectful. Copyright disclaimer: under Section 107 of the Copyright Act of 1976, allowance is made for fair use for purposes such as criticism, comments, news reporting, teaching, scholarships, and research. Fair use is use permitted by copyright statute that might otherwise be infringing. All comments are alleged in our opinion and for entertainment purposes only. Thanks for being here. Thanks for supporting the channel. Like, comment, and subscribe. Replay game. Subscribe. We should be able to hit 40K this week. And thank you all for tuning in to Let's Talk About It, Media 21. Goodbye. Be blessed.